sure, and Big Oran. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you out there. That's it. That's it for my accents. It's good to be here, everybody. Welcome. It's Thursday. It's the first day of the NCAA tournaments, of the real games, if you will. Of course, you're listening and you're watching Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. I am your host, lead handicapper, Scott Steehn from winnersandwhiners.com. And
I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over winnersandwhiners.com. You got any St. Patty's plans besides wearing green?
You know, I got to tell you, it's been a very disappointing day around the Steehn house. Once a year, my wife, who is a vegetarian, we go to get corned beef Rubens at the barbecue place that's smoked corned beef. It's fantastic. It's the one time a year she eats meat. We called to put our order in already. They're out. They're out, Scott. Out. So, yeah. So that's it. We're scrambling now. We don't know what we're going to do. We built our whole day around that. So we often go to the parade. Beautiful day for the parade, but I chose to be here with everybody. So there you go.
I'm probably going to go to some watch party, probably watch some games, drink some beer, green coloring optional, but I'll probably have a few beers.
Probably have a few green beers.
Well, I was going to say, the food coloring doesn't need to be there, but it probably will be. I might just ask for a bottle. I get the idea of being festive, but some food colorings might have a little bit of an aftertaste if it's not like stirred properly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So I'm not going to bother. Give me the bottles and we'll just go that way.
JC Stone says, my bracket is dead. I was going to actually put something on the opening banner about whose bracket.
Well, I'm actually curious, JC. Your bracket's dead. It's been 2 games. Like, what did you have?
I think
you had Colorado State in the Elite Eight or something. Like, what did you have?
He had the Jackrabbits making a run. I think he's being facetious. Hey, what's up? Okay. What's up, Timmy Earl? Good to see you, man. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. MZ in the house. Chalk so far. Yep. James S. not happy about South Dakota State. You know, that's I gave out 2 rules for betting in the big dance: fade the Mountain West, and don't fall in love with teams that dominate shitty conferences. And so far, I'm 2-0. I know you were a little higher on the Jacks than I was yesterday, Scott, but they just couldn't quite get there. The skill and the quality of players just kind of showed through in the end.
Yeah, they cut it to 3. You know, they were within 1 possession with 30 seconds to go. You had a questionable 3-point shot foul there where it looked like Bynum stuck his body out and drew the contact. But either way, I'm not going to say South Dakota State was going to win because they were down 3, so they still needed a lot to go their way. They might have covered, maybe, so that didn't work out. But
right.
All I do know is that I don't really regret my pick because, to be honest, in every bracket I have, I straight up just had Iowa advancing to the Sweet 16 every time.
Yep.
So I figured if I was going to have that and whether Providence or South Dakota State won, that was as far as they were going to go. I figured it was worth the shot for the bracket.
Yep. JC Stone says Boise State following your Mountain West plan. Yeah, to a T.
Yeah.
They're going to be 0-3 with 1 team left to go, and we'll maybe talk about them a little bit later.
I tweeted it out. I had the record. We're going to talk about a game potentially from that conference later, but the Mountain West, year in, year out, they're one of the most entertaining mid-season leagues to follow and conference tournaments. But once it's the NCAA tournament, you might want to find other teams to bet on, particularly the teams that they're playing against.
You spend the whole year going, man, everybody's got a great defense. They just play such good defense. And then they get to
the offenses just suck.
Then you go the offense, the tournament, you go, oh no, it's the offenses that are dreadful.
I mean, that was the first bet I made. I had a very good morning because I had Michigan. And the question was if I was going to eject or not. I know we had a text chain with us and Chris King about if I should hit the eject button or not.
We both pulled the ripcord.
Yeah, I thought about it. And then I decided, you know what? I think Michigan's just better, and I'm going to take it. They were down 15 early. Didn't look good. And then, Michigan just realized if we just guard the 3-point line, they're screwed. Yeah. And they were 100% screwed because Michigan torched them.
I got roped in. I took the Jackson as a premium. I thought without Jones that they might have.
You took the Rams?
No. I mean, I'm talking about I took the Jackrabbits.
What does that have to do with? What does that?
No, nothing. It's the same type of game.
Oh,
two
I
teams.
thought you were saying you took Colorado State because of the injury to Michigan's player.
No. Sorry. No, I was. No, I took. I'm sorry. It was the other way around. I took South Dakota State. I thought they would be able to get a little done, but I saw they were 3 for 10 from 3-point in the first half, and only got off 30 shots. I'm like, yeah, they're screwed. Come on, Memphis. I think you're going to get there, buddy.
Well, I mean, Boise's making a little bit of a run, but it's basketball, so you'll constantly see 6-0 runs from either side.
Yeah, Michigan made a for real run, though.
They did. I mean, that's what I was saying. They went from down 15 to winning by double digits.
Yep.
Like, that must have been a hell of a ride there. But, I mean, it goes back to what I was talking about when we mentioned the games briefly. I thought Dickinson was going to be a man amongst boys. And Roddy's very good as a power forward guy in that conference.
Yeah, he's 6'5".
But against,
what are you going to do?
But against actual size and strength and quality Big Ten athletes,
right?
Him and Stevens got exposed. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just how it worked out.
He's good against guys that are 6'7", 6'8", but Dickinson's 7'1". You're giving up 7. You're giving up 8 inches. You can't do that.
I'm just saying they were half doubling Dickinson every possession. If Dickinson was in the Mountain West, he would average 25 per game.
Gotta think so. All right. So, of course, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Give us the thumbs up for this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, both the Winners and Whiners YouTube channel and Max Wagers Network. Even if you don't watch us on Max Wagers, we'd appreciate the support if you go over there and show us the same love at our new Max Wagers Network that you have shown us here at Winners and Whiners. And, of course, like and subscribe, or no green beer for you. I think if you're like Scott, that's not going to be a big deal. But so,
I'm still going to be drinking. It's just going to be in bottle format.
Very good. And I'm losing my voice. I'm supposed to do a show later tonight. I may pull the cord on that. I got nothing. My allergies. Again, I don't feel bad. I sound terrible, and I'm sneezing on occasion. So, anything else? Anybody before we get rolling? Riding that Chattanooga choo-choo. Don't hate that. Don't hate that at all.
I think Chattanooga's alive, but I think Illinois is going to end up winning. Underwood late in games, man. You're going to see a lot of weird shenanigans going down. That's all I'm going to say.
People in Kansas State excited about the possibility of Underwood coming here. I just don't get it.
I don't think he's a good coach, so sorry.
Agreed. All right, so let's talk about what happened yesterday. Everything else is going to be tournament editions from here on out, but there are some other things that we're going to get involved with as far as what went on in yesterday's action, because there were other leagues in effect. There was other things going on, so let's find out, Scott. Let's check out the Thursday edition, the St. Patrick's Day edition, if you will, of I was going to say, I can't. What's a cop in Ireland? It's not a bobby. That's England. Is it a paddy?
A cop?
Okay. All right, lads. Here's the Thursday edition of Call It Coops. All right, very good. Right, starting in the NBA, if you had the Trailblazers and the Knicks under 225, oh, man, one of those scramble things you think, oh, I'm in good shape. And they're like, nope, I'm not. They put
Knicks won by 30, by the way.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they were fouling down the stretch.
Well, they played the Blazers, so of course they did. 16 points in the final 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Not good at all. The game landed 226. If you had 225, call the cops.
And looking at the NBA, if you had the Nets, I know this line was kind of all over the place, but if you had +1, +1.5, +2, whatever, you led by 1 point with less than 3 seconds left, which means you only lose on one thing: guard the 3-point line. The Nets did not. Spencer Dinwiddie hit a game-winning buzzer-beater 3-pointer, and the Nets lost by 2. Rip up your +1 or +1.5 tickets.
You can put it on the board. And finally, if you had the Kings +8.5 against the Bucks, had the Bucks on a personal parlay money line. I had them as a premium -8.5. Yeah, let's talk about this. It was a tie game with 1:33 left. I believe that's when I was texting "I'm screwed" to you guys in the text chain. Bucks closed the game, 9-0 run. That's right. Kings said, you know what? We remember now. We're the Kings. We prefer not to score for the rest of the game. And they didn't. Kings lose by 9 if you had +8.5 with the Kings. Sorry. You thought you had it, didn't you? And then you didn't. Call the cops.
I see JoJo talking about the Dinwiddie shot. Same thing with Earl, who had Mavs money line. I can't even blame the Nets defensively. I feel like you would agree the one thing you should do if you're playing against Dallas, get the ball out of Doncic's hands.
Yeah.
They did. Dragic gave a little bit of a contest there. It was a good shot, is what it is. Good defense, better offense.
Absolutely true, sir. Well, there was some good news out there, and most of it's going to be in the NBA as well. The NBA giveth and the NBA taketh away. Let's find out the people that were living on Easy Street and just kind of taking it easy, getting ready for the big dance. Who was sitting in that Wednesday night rocking chair?
So the first one, if you had the Nuggets -6.5 against the Wizards, they led by 21 points at halftime, and they won by 18.
Yeah, very good. It was not a tough one there for the Denvers. And if you had the Celtics +1.5 over the Warriors, you didn't need any points. Come on, they led by 16 at halftime, ended up winning by a total 1-2.
And the last one, if you had a first four game, particularly the Bryant and Wright State game, also the Notre Dame and Rutgers game, if you had the over in either of those were nice and easy. But for the Bryant Wright State one, it was at 155. Each half had at least 86 points. Game landed 175. You didn't need 7 overtimes in order to get there.
Nope, you did not. All right. Once again, guys, you're listening to Scott and Scott as we're heading back to the window. Don't forget to check out all the other great offerings here at the Max Wagers Network. It's the Midday Report with Sean Higgs, and it's the plus money honey as Allie Burns does her thing with Morning Wood. Chris King, Jim Williams, get you going on the parlays, and it's Scott and I cleaning up their mess. And then, of course, Lenny, Tim, and the boys are taking a look at all the late action going on at Game Time Decisions at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you check out each and every one of those. And we want you to check out our partners there at MGM, at BetMGM. Of course, Scott, I'm going to let you have your little beef about MGM here. I've decided that's going to be okay. So
it's not going to be...
Not in the middle of my read. Not in the middle of my read. I'll get back to you.
Fair enough. I thought that was my cue.
No, not yet. That's what you get for missing rehearsal today, buddy. No, but don't forget to check out they're still doing the great thing over at BetMGM. $1,000 first bet. It's on them. Basically, it's a no risk proposition. You can bet up to a GER. If you lose, they make it right. Put it back in your account. If you win, hey, you just made $1,000. So quit your bitching. And of course, they're also doing the NBA special. Bet $10 in any NBA game. If anybody makes a three-pointer, not just at the buzzer, but if anybody makes a three-pointer, you win a cool $200. So, Scott, I know you're staying there at at MGM in Vegas. Now, you have discovered what many of us have discovered. Myself, I have the YouTube streaming platform, and I have this same problem, and I know people have lit up Twitter about this because the games are on TNT, they're on TBS, they're on CBS, and there's another channel they're on, Scott, and it's not nearly as popular, apparently. What is that channel?
It's True TV.
Do you have True TV there at the MGM?
I do not.
Ooh.
And I feel like that is going to be the main piece. That's really the only thing I'm beefing about. I'm having a good time here. But I know that True TV is not exactly a common channel for about 11 months out of the year. But
Right.
in Vegas, with March Madness around, every hotel in Vegas at least should have True TV solely because of March Madness for at least 1 month.
Well,
It should be there.
Here's my question about that, and I'm sure MGM isn't alone. I'm sure there are a ton of hotels that don't have True TV in Vegas. So here's my question. If you have a sports book, which I know MGM does, you certainly, if there's 4 games on at once, you're certainly showing all 4 of those games in the sports book, so you have access to True TV. Can't we just splice in the rooms? Couldn't we just, you've got it. It's not like it's in, no, nobody in Vegas has True TV. No. So they got it at the hotel. So why don't they give it to you, Scott?
I have no idea.
Okay.
They just decided we're not worthy in regular hotel rooms. They got to save all the True TV power for the actual sports book.
Okay. So in fairness, you
I don't know.
could go downstairs to the sports book and watch it.
I could, except for the fact that I'm kind of working. And
Right.
I was working this morning, so
I get it.
same thing with last night, though. Like, I was doing some work, but I kind of wanted to catch the first half of the Wright State game that we just talked about. High-scoring game, seemed like a lot of fun, and yet it's just nowhere to be found. Like, you have NIT games on ESPN, but you have no True TV NCAA tournament games. It was just weird.
Mr. Lowe says, Marlowe says they want you out of the room. That's no shit. I'm surprised they give you any channels. Big X in the house. What's up? Under points in Iowa it is.
That game already started.
Don't mention. Oh, don't mention the streak ever again. Just keep mowing grass on the John Deere. Yeah, I know. It was It wasn't pretty. We got close. We got 7 assists last night. But,
I mean, I ended up on my prop show 1 and 2, so it's not like I really did that well. I won with Gobert rebounds at halftime. That was easy. But I mean, if a player has a 19 the game prior and he played 38 minutes last night, you gotta like your chances. And he just didn't get there. He had the ball in his hands the entire game. He just didn't get there.
Yep, absolutely. So let's talk about some of the games today, Scott. And I know some people have asked about them, and we have a play on one of those games, so we'll talk about some of the other ones. Baylor taking care of business against Norfolk. I thought Norfolk might have a little something to them. I broke my own cardinal rule, Scott. Norfolk very good in that conference. Was at the NEAC, right?
Yes.
So they just won their tournament. They won the regular season. I'm like, oh, Norfolk State. And of course, Norfolk State will always have a place in my heart because why, Scott?
Because they killed your team.
Yeah, they did. They killed Mizzou as a 2 seed. The same day.
I don't think the Pressey brothers team was that good, to be honest, but they were still a 2 seed.
Yep. Same day that Duke lost as a 2 seed, so it kind of went under the radar a little bit. But yeah, so I'm always thinking about Norfolk State. I'm like, oh, they're pretty good. And I thought Baylor, they might screw around.
They still might cover. I mean, they're down 16. It's not like you're completely dead to rights. They're down 13, actually.
It could happen.
Could. I don't know.
I don't know why CBS Sports Network. That's a great question, JC, because they have their own. That's absolutely a fantastic question. Why not put it on CBS Sports? And I guess it's all. I guess TBS and True TV, TNT are all part of the Turner Broadcasting Network, and I guess they got the deal with CBS. So, is North Carolina locked to cover? Oh, it's the L word. We don't use the L word around here.
I don't use the L word. There's been a lot of money coming in on Carolina, though. I know it was originally at around 2.5 or 3. Now it seems like it's 3.5, even some 4s. I know it was 4 this morning.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's been a little bit of buyback on Marquette. I'm going Carolina. At the end of the day, Marquette with Shaka Smart is definitely an entertaining team because they press, they force a lot of turnovers, that kind of thing. But they're going to get killed on the glass. I mean, I don't know how they're supposed to rebound in this game. Baycott for North Carolina could realistically walk into 22 and 18. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. He might actually have 18 rebounds in this game. And North Carolina's guards are a little bit streaky, but they can hit enough shots from the outside to prevent them, Marquette from completely just trapping the big men every time. Shaka Smart, really good coach in the past. However, his last 5 NCAA tournament games, he's 0-5. So people remember the VCU dream runs and all that stuff. It was a long time ago. Just throwing that out there.
Yep. It's been a long time since they've had any success, like you said. But we're both obviously, we're both on Carolina there. Zags first half minus 13.5, Scott.
Georgia State might be the best 16 seed of all time, just based on talent. Like, I think that the fact that there are 16 seeds ridiculous. I think they should be a 15. But Gonzaga's going to kill them. I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's like you look at every position, Gonzaga checks every box. The question is, does Gonzaga care enough to actually run it up on them? Gonzaga always seems to just run it up on people in the first round. You look at previous years, they win every first round by like 30 plus, right?
I'm looking to see I'm looking to see what they did last year in the first half. They win by 20 in the first half last year against Norfolk State, first round. 19-20, no tournaments. Farley Dickinson, they played him 36 in the first round against FD. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think based on recent form, what Few has done, just going back.
I got to assume the height of Gonzaga is going to completely just overwhelm Georgia State. It's a thing that you always got to remember for even NFL or any sport. You have scout team guys who are supposed to help you prep. How do you prepare for homeroom? Who do you bring in?
Right.
How do you game plan for that? I don't know what the hell you do. What do? You call up Porzingis and you ask if he's available? Like, I don't know what you're supposed to do.
That's about all you can do. And they the year before that, in 17-18, they only were up by 9 at halftime, but they were a 4 seed. So, and they end up winning the game by 4. So the first half was the good half. Yeah, I think that's a solid play. I believe in him. I believe in him more in the first half than I do full game. How about that? But
I'm looking at maybe a team total over. It really depends on if Georgia State slows the pace down because Gonzaga wants to push. But I got to assume Gonzaga is going to have open shots all day.
Yep. Memphis playing with their food a little bit. Boise State.
Well, Memphis's best player got hurt.
Yeah.
Or one of their best players got hurt, so they're kind of in panic survival mode right now.
Well, wait a minute. They had 38. There was 38-19 at halftime, so they've been outscored.
They have 4 points in the first 8.5 minutes.
Been outscored 19 or 20-5. Yeah, that's not good.
What score do you have?
42-32. I'm assuming it's about to be 42-33.
I see 33, so
yeah.
I see 14-4 Boise through 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
If you want to make a live play on Boise, I don't know if they're going to get there, but you might want to look at the spread.
Too late.
I do think that game's going to be close.
Too late. Can you imagine how much value you pissed away?
You can argue that it might be too little too late unless you think that Memphis does not figure it out. What's the live line, do you think? It's probably Boise, plus 9? Plus 8.5?
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. Well, hell, let me check.
I think it should finish in the number. Memphis is falling apart.
Yeah, they just turned it over again, and I know everybody's ahead of us. This is if you watched any of our live broadcasts, you've seen this before. As we're about 30 seconds behind, and you're in my boat.
I'm not even watching the game. I'm just following the ESPN play-by-play.
Oh. It is 9.5 right now. At 48, 42, 33.
That's what I thought. I mean, I'm not telling you to take Boise money line at 7-1. I mean, you can if you want to, but I mean, if you can get a line there, like what we just said, if you're going to be getting Boise team, even Memphis team total under 59.5, is that too low? I don't know. I'm not watching the game though. Like, does Memphis just look like a chicken without a head right now? Like, what's going on?
I've really just looked up to see the score. I've oddly enough been working on the show. I just have it up in the background. So I'm
just saying, if you think that Memphis is not going to get it together, you might want to take the 8.5. That's all I'm saying.
It looks to me like they're settling for bad shots and no, they just made a stupid foul. Perfect. Roland, we're going to talk about that game a little bit later. Scott, you got a thought on the total in that San Diego State game?
For me, it's going to be under or pass for me. I can't take an over. I might be biased because I just saw Creighton score 40 and change against Villanova in one of the ugliest conference title games of all time.
Right.
But I've seen the Mountain West throughout the day, and even if Boise comes back, they have 35 points with 35 points with 9:42 left in the second half. Offensively, the conference isn't very good. So I like the under. I think you're going to see an absolute grind fest in that game. You?
Yeah, I
can't take the over there. I can't do it.
No, it's hard to get involved with an over with San Diego State. Good defense and not the best offense. So
even with Creighton, because Creighton usually is a very up-tempo, offensive-heavy team, and this year McDermott pulled the complete 180. They play defense and they play slow.
Yeah, well, they played to their strengths. They do.
I give McDermott props for it. He realized his players couldn't play the usual style, and he adjusted. So kudos to him.
Yep. Vermont versus Arkansas, Scott. This is another mid-major darling, a team that absolutely dominated their conference. I think we talked about it yesterday. They went 17-1, rolled through the conference tournament. Of course, at home. I think they win every conference tournament game by 30 or more.
Yeah, I believe it was 32 plus.
Yep. So, what do you think about this? It's a really short number on the Cats, right? We're looking at what was it, 4.5 or so? Let me see what I got it at here.
Doesn't surprise me. The thing is,
4.5. You have 5. It looked like a little bit of buyback coming. It was 4.5 for a while.
I'm assuming it'll close 5. I think you'll see a couple of late heavy bets on Arkansas, if I had to guess.
That's where my money is.
For me, Arkansas has been a really annoying team to predict all season long because they're 25-8 straight up, but they're 17-1 at home, which means on the road they are 8-7. which is not particularly good.
Right.
Now, Vermont hasn't played anybody all season long. They played a couple of games early in the season against out-of-conference teams, and to be honest, they really didn't look that great. I'm going to go with Arkansas. I do think Vermont hangs around because Arkansas is occasionally abysmal offensively, just bad shot selection. They settle a lot for the outside, so if they miss threes, they could be in trouble. They have the athletes, they have the size, they have the bench. I think you'd agree Note's probably the best player on the floor.
Yeah, I would. That's hard to argue with in that game.
So I'm going to say Arkansas wins the game. As for the spread, truth is I kind of just like the money line. I don't really want to bother. I know that it's a decent like minus 200 plus price there, but I feel a lot better about the money line than the spread. I think the spread's going to really come down to the wire. You?
I'm all over Arkansas here. Give me the give me the battle of the conferences again. That's
okay. Fair enough.
Till one of them jumps up and shows me something different, I'm going to have to keep with that trend. David the Italian not speaking well of casinos and their proclivity to spend extra money. I'll just put it that way. I'm not going to, you know my position on casinos, Scott. I'm not roasting anyone in particular. I'm just not I'm not a big fan of the way a lot of them do their business. I'll just say that.
Okay. We're on the same page.
Fair enough. Doesn't mean I won't go to. Doesn't mean I won't stay there. What else got your attention today? What else are you looking at?
I'm looking at Murray State -2 against San Francisco. I thought that game was a coin flip when the bracket was initially announced, and then San Francisco's big man, who's one of their best players, got injured, and he will most likely not play. I forgot if he's officially ruled out or he's just highly doubtful, but it seems extremely unlikely for him to play. When you're averaging 9.4 rebounds per game and 2.2 blocks per game, and Murray State's a top 40 team in rebounding rate, I think that you're going to see a lot of issues for San Francisco on the glass. I got to go with Murray State there.
Yep, I'm with you. This was probably our silver medal play for our bet the farm play. It was close.
If San Francisco was fully healthy, I think that's just a game you sit back and enjoy. But with that injury, I have to pivot to Murray. I think that's a huge deal for San Francisco.
Yep. We'll. This is the battle of the mids. I'm still kind of tweaked about that matchup to start with, but
also stylistically, because Michigan lost its point guard, but you were able to keep the actual same game plan. You bring in the bench guys. You're still going to ride through Dickinson,
right,
and try to work that out. If you're trying to run an inside-out game and you're missing your best big man by far, do you go small? Do you change anything? I have to wonder if some of San Francisco's best offensive sets are now extremely either useless or just blunt at this point.
Yeah, it's almost like Michigan was going to be without Dickinson.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he's one of the main catalysts of that team.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's the person that the offense runs through, and with Michigan, that's why they were able to survive the loss of the guard, as opposed to the pivot point of their offense. Yeah, basically just what you said. Mazowski is out. That's what we're talking about, JB.
So he is officially out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was, but I wasn't sure if that was official.
As far as I know, I'll see if there's any last minute update here, but I assume that's.
I assume he's out.
Yep. I don't think that's a good at all. What else has your attention today? I told you I took the money line parlay today. I've got USC. I've got UNC, Iowa, and Arkansas.
What else do I like? I'm trying to figure out what else I like. I mean, we talked about the region breakdown show in the Midwest. Tennessee. I know we both were looking towards Southern plus the 21.5.
Yeah, so far the dogs haven't looked fantastic, but we'll see.
I know. But I do think it helps that Southern did play a game a couple of days ago, while Kansas has been doing nothing since the conference title game.
Yeah, Kansas is a team. I wouldn't, if I was going to play that, I'd probably play Southern first half. Kansas is a team that can kind of take a minute to get going in the tournament for whatever reason. What do you think of Longwood, Tennessee? Tennessee, a little money coming in now. They're now looking at 18.
Well, Tennessee's leading by 14 right now.
Oh, so there you go. Oh, sorry. I didn't even look at start time on that. Man, that would have been...
Iowa's down 1 with 11 to go in the first half. Not surprised. I thought Richmond would hang around early, and then I expect Iowa to hit a bunch of threes in the second half and probably break it open.
Yep. Baylor pulling away 21. Memphis got their double-digit lead back. Yeah, Tennessee 12 over Longwood. Again, that's a team that made us a lot of money this year, the Longwood Lancers. They were a very, very good team, but it's all contextual, Scott. It's all about context. And
see, JB brings up a point, though, in the comment section about how the Dogs have not been covering, so he's worried about the favorites later.
Right.
He expects it to balance out. Do you believe that, or do you try to view every game as independently as possible?
It's really hard. It's really hard.
I know, it's very, very hard.
Because, your brain tells you that each game is independent. What happened in Seattle has no effect on what happened in Orlando 2 hours later. But yet, sometimes trends emerge, and it's hard to ignore them. So, would I call it a trend after a couple of games? No. But is it have my attention? Yeah, it really does. How about you?
I'm in the same boat. I'm not going to say it's going to prevent me from betting a favorite later on because at 12 o'clock, the Michigan ended up covering it. I'm not going to go through that approach. But I do think you can make an argument that it might suggest the odds makers themselves have been giving too much credit to the underdogs in these matchups.
Well, and I think that's a reaction on what the public wants to do, because you see it with line movement. It's not like, it's not like everybody was, pounding Tennessee and got it up to 17 or anything. They were like, oh, Longwood, they're a very good team. And again, it's the same situation as your South Dakota State, your Vermonts. So those kind of teams, I mean, that's something that we told you to look out for. So that, as far as that being a surprise, not really. Plus, you and I both like this Tennessee team a lot.
Yeah, we do. I think that they have a chance to make the Final Four.
I do too.
So I really like this team.
I do too. I think you've got what, 3 schools in the SEC? Yeah, I wouldn't count Alabama, but Kentucky, Auburn, and Tennessee that have a legitimate shot of getting to the Final Four.
Legitimate shot, yes. I still think Auburn's going to fall apart at some point.
Agreed.
Because they just were struggling down the stretch.
They've got a good path, though. That's the thing.
Their path was really generous. But if you want to talk about conferences and trying to go through that, I've always mentioned I'm a fan of backing certain conferences and fading certain conferences every year, because I do feel like, mostly because of odds makers, as a conference as a whole tends to be undervalued and overvalued. The Mountain West is overvalued every year. They're just not good.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. They're terrible in the tournament every year. And as for the undervalued conferences, I would say it's usually going to be, I'm trying to even think of good examples. It's going to be a Power 5 conference.
The Pac-12 last year would be a great example.
It's a Power 5 conference, but you expect a couple of teams to be good, and it turns out like 2 times the number you thought that was going to be good actually looks pretty solid.
Right. And then you'll sometimes have teams that disappoint. They put in 7 or 8 teams, and 5 of them will lose, and by the end of the second round. I am
curious though if the Big Ten might be that conference. I know Iowa's in a battle early now, but whatever, who cares? Point is that Michigan ended up winning without its starting point guard, and they were 3 games over 500, so they're not one of the better teams by far. Rutgers lost in double overtime to Notre Dame. That happens, close game, whatever. That was a coin flip. So maybe the Big Ten, if you want to try to build on early trends, you could make the argument that the Big Ten looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of the only takeaway I have right now, besides the Mountain West still sucks. And I already knew that.
Well, here's my question. I know they play tomorrow, but what about this Michigan State team? There's another example of a Power 5 school, and I believe it's Pick'em right now with Davidson.
Yeah, and Michigan State was obviously opened as the favorite, and now money has come in on Davidson.
Correct. So is that money moving? Is that line moving the right way? Is that it?
See, this is the point, though. Like, now that I said that I think the Big Ten might be undervalued, does that mean I'm blindly taking Michigan State? Of course not, because I hate that damn team. I don't think they're very good.
Right.
Now, Davidson, of course, is a bit undersized, so they're going to have to try to battle on the glass. But I mentioned this when Davidson blew the game to Richmond. If they would have not choked away that lead in the final 2 minutes, what seed would they be? I think they would have been an 8.
Right.
So you can make an argument that they are an overqualified 10 seed that is very live against Michigan State. I think they got a good shot to win the game, because I think Michigan State is really not that good at basketball. And I watched them play against Wisconsin. I believe they made 0 3-pointers in the first 40. What was it? The first 36 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it was a stretch. Yeah,
and Davidson can shoot. So if you're going to be trying to trade threes for twos, I do think there's a path there for Davidson to win. You?
I'm going to go the other. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take Michigan State. I
think it's a coin flip, which is why it's pick'em. But I think it's a worthy pick'em.
I've got Davidson played a pretty decent non-con schedule. They beat Alabama, and I know that's what everybody's hanging their hat on. But they did lose to San Francisco. They covered. They were 6.5 point dogs, and they will lose by 5. And they also lost to New Mexico State. They were 2-point dogs and lost by 12. So again, they've been really good. I believe they're 11-1 non-con against the number. So
there's also one thing that really annoys me about
10-1
breakdowns of some teams. Can we stop the March is like the Izzo month? Can we stop? Like, what the hell has he done in March? What am I missing? I know that he made the Final Four a couple of times, like previously. He lost in the first round to Middle Tennessee State. He lost in the play-in game to UCLA last year. Blindly betting Izzo in March doesn't make any sense. Like, Boeheim, I can understand. Because Boeheim's always like an 8 seed or a 10 seed, and they randomly make it to the Elite 8 a couple of times. But when has Michigan State done anything recently to make a run in the tournament?
Well, I don't know that. See, I think he's got the because he's been there so long. I think you're looking at recency bias, and I think that's.
No, I know long term he's
right.
been extremely solid. He has one title though, but I know he made the Final Four and the Elite 8 a bunch. I get all that, but that's also a pretty interesting discussion to have. Do you prioritize overall body of work or recency? What have you done for me lately? I think you're looking at Izzo's numbers right now, and he made the Final Four in 2018, 2019. Besides that, he's lost in the first 4, the round of 64, or the round of 32 in 4 of the last 5 tournaments, excluding 4 of the last 5. That's not good.
No. You can absolutely make the case that the game. I don't know if the game has passed him by or if he can't recruit as well, but for whatever reason. Do you
think that the odds makers factor that in? They just see Izzo and go, well, I mean, of course, it's March. I think that random casual bettors do.
Yes, and I think odds makers react to what they think casual bettors are going to do as well.
That's why I think this line's a bit trappy, because everybody's going to look at Michigan State in a Power 5 school. Izzo, he's done this before. Davidson's never in the there's a lot of reasons to dismiss Davidson, and yet it's a pick'em. So it seems like the odds makers recognize that these teams are more even than the public wants to believe. That's kind of my counterpoint.
Okay, all right. I'd like to see. I don't have it up. Have you got the see where the money's coming in on that game?
Let me check.
Let's see if I can get it too. We count money over. So he hasn't had a good player since Cleves, basically. It's not wrong.
It says, according to this, 94% of the money is coming in. Let me see if I got this right. I see 76% of tickets are on Michigan State.
76% of the tickets are on Michigan State. Okay. And
as for money, I don't see that, but I do see tickets.
Okay. Well, that doesn't tell me anything.
I also don't know how accurate this is, to be honest, because I'm using like pre-games whatever site. Right. I don't have an official money whatever. I just don't have that.
I'll give you a hint. Whatever site you're using, goes for everybody. It's probably not accurate. I mean,
well, I'm checking the moves right now. From what I can tell from this, when I expand on it, it says that the ticket count is roughly 50-50. Recently, I'd say today, the bets that have come in today.
Okay.
It's mostly 50-50. About 2/3 of the money's coming in on Davidson. At least that's what I see from the grid. I don't know how accurate that is, but it seems like more money's coming in on Davidson than Michigan State.
JB doing the heavy lifting for me, because this is usually what I say. Reichel mad at Barnes, Izzo, and Self. 100%.
Izzo, I'm not
100% accurate.
Izzo and Self, at least they've won a title. Like, they've made it to Final Fours. I know Self can choke in the Elite Eight, whatever. Like, they usually don't lose in the first 2 rounds, unless you have Farokbanesh on Northern Iowa, who hits the big shot at the end. I always love Farokbanesh. But anyway.
You remind me of Psycho on Stripes. You just made the list, buddy. I got Izzo, I got Self, the Pac-12. You just made the list, fucking Pac-12. That's what you remind me of. You really do. Shaka Smart, you've done nothing. You've done nothing lately.
If you burn me, I'll cut you.
If you talk about Izzo, I'll kill you.
If you sub out your best player, I'll kill you. I mean, it's a thing though.
Lighten up, Francis.
There's a lot of really good coaches in terms of public perception because of what they've done overall body of work. I am curious if it's one and done and how it's changed the actual landscape of college basketball. A lot of these really good historical coaches have really been kind of mediocre for the last couple of years. I'm assuming you've noticed the same thing.
Yeah. It's maybe the adaptability with COVID, because this is the 3rd year we've been dealing with COVID in this tournament. Well, I mean, they canceled it in 1920, but last year it was, you had all it's a different set of challenges, and some of the older coaches may not have been well equipped as some of the younger guys. Jimmy,
I'm going to add a coach there, by the way. Sorry, I'm going to add a coach that's not mentioned, but I have to because they're not in the tournament this year. Leonard Hamilton.
Oh.
Always fade him in the Sweet 16.
You just made the list. Hamilton, you made the list.
Am I wrong?
No.
You like Leonard Hamilton as a coach?
No.
Of course not. He's been there for 30 years. He wins a bunch of games. But if you don't do anything in the tournament, I'm going to call you for what you are.
You're dead to me.
Mediocre basketball coach.
James asking the question that I asked, and anybody that watched my video, what happened to Kent yesterday? You know what? We talked about that game, and we talked about the fact that it could go one of 2 ways. Kent would be have a grudge. They'd have a chip on their shoulder. They'd want to go in and show the world they were wrong, show the world they got fucked over for the not being able to go to the NCAA tournaments because of the videos. Or they could just say, fuck it, we should have been there, we don't care about this. And it looks like the latter occurred, Scott. I guess the former would occur, and I believe I was incorrect.
Well, it also, we have to mention, when we went over the game previously on Alley's show, we thought Southern Utah's best player was not going to play.
Correct.
That did not happen. So that also put a whole wrench in the whole thing.
Yep. Absolutely true. Absolutely.
Yeah, you see, counting money, though, that's the thing, though. I did hate Tyronn Lue, but
yeah,
I am able to adjust my stance if you win me over. So that's kind of my thing. Even though I dislike some of these coaches, and there's a long list of them, I'm willing to take people off the list if they prove me wrong. And Tyronn Lue proved me wrong. I think he's a really good coach. But as Bronco Devil mentions, Frank Reich, Colts coach. I think he sucks. And they lose to Jacksonville week 17. I saw them go for it on 4th and goal, whatever, against the Bills 2 years ago. Until you prove me wrong and you keep underachieving, I'm going to call you out. Prove me wrong. I try to be as fair as possible.
This is as close to playing in a band and having the audience sing along with your best song. This is as close as we'll ever get.
You're just shouting out coach.
The people that remember you from 6 months ago going, oh yeah, you hate Frank Reich. It's like, ooh, do the Frank Reich song. Absolutely. That's as close as we're ever going to get.
I try to be fair with it. I'm not blindly, for example, I have Tennessee in my Final Four. I don't like Rick Barnes, but I look at the team and I have to acknowledge that I think they're one of the best 4 teams in the country. I'm trying to be fair.
Okay. All right.
But yes, Tyronn Lue did win me over. I think he's actually a really good coach.
Bronco Devil has a legitimate reason to hate Frank Reich. He was an Oilers season ticket holder.
That's a whole separate can of worms there. But I mentioned that I don't like him as a coach, and I feel like most Colts fans would have disagreed with me a year or two ago. I think I might have started a bit of a bandwagon
Some
there.
converts.
I think a decent amount of people jumped on.
JB, I'm willing to take people off the list. That's right.
I am. I try to be fair. It's a long list, but you can win me over.
Keep it fair. Here you go.
Yeah. Am I not fair? You can be honest. I try to be.
I believe you believe it.
Okay.
I think we all have our biases, and the only difference is these guys in the comment section, we don't get to see them because they're not on display every day for an hour.
I'm just saying, I don't dislike Izzo because I went to Wisconsin. It's completely unrelated. I just acknowledge that Michigan State, people always try to pencil in with Izzo going to the Elite Eight every year. And for the last 5 tournaments, they've kind of shit the bed. And nobody talks about it.
Yeah, well, we are. So there you go.
Yeah, that's why I bring it up.
All right. No laughing matter. Sorry, buddy. That's and then Reich was on the other side when they had the comeback against the Chiefs in the playoffs. So what is it with Reich?
He also has the biggest comeback in college history.
Frank Reich does?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Fuck, I forgot about that.
The Maryland.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, that was heartbreaking. I got the 2 out of it. All right, you ready, buddy?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Let's man, it's not we don't have quite the pep in our step.
Whoa, counting money. No, whoa. I do not hate Bear Bryant, Belichick, Saban, and Vince Lombardi. Let's pump the brakes a bit. Bear Bryant, I don't know if there was some racism stuff there, though.
Oh, there was.
So, I can hate him for different reasons. So, Bear Bryant, we'll throw him out for a second. Saban, Belichick, and Lombardi, I went against Saban this year. Kirby Smart won me over. Another example.
Vince Lombardi. You know, roast Vince Lombardi.
He never called the passing play. I mean, I don't know what to think about
that. Hey, when you pass the ball, only 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. So
that's true. That is true.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, here we go. There's one for the Twitter feed. Reichel hates Vince Lombardi and Bear Bryant. Click here and find out why.
Lombardi, personality-wise, everybody should hate Bear Bryant. So that's my counter argument.
He
had a nice hat, though.
I was going to hate him because of the hat.
You don't like that?
The houndstooth thing? No, come on.
You don't like it?
Come on. Now.
It was this thing.
All right.
It was a bit. It was like Tom Landry.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that fucker. All right, you ready? Let's get to it here before we piss off every sports fan available. All right, Scott. Well, by the way, special shout out. We didn't get to it, but I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. Lakers lost again last night. Lose by 20. Lost 12 of their last 15. If you're still back in the Lakers, fucking seek help. Seek help, kids. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I discovered Reichel will really tell you what he hates on Twitter. Boy, that's no shit. That guy tweets more than I'm not gonna say more than anybody.
Rarely positive, by the way. Rarely positive.
Rarely positive. Yep. And then, God forbid if he like roasts somebody and then it comes true, he'll fucking put his own tweet back up there and let you know that he was right.
I'll quote it. Bump.
Oh yeah, he'll bump is that's his thing.
Bump.
So
there it is.
My 3-team parlay.
I'm doing it today, right? I'm doing it for the Mountain West as soon as the schedule's over for today. Like I have to.
My 3-team parlay. How does it pay plus 182? All right, Chris. That's why I put the numbers in there for everybody. Put it in a parlay calculator, which is exactly what I did. Minus 550, minus 163, minus 205. I believe it comes out, if I'm not mistaken, to 183.67. It's definitely 183 high. So that's how I did it. So it's the and I'll tell you who I used. Which one did I? The Vegas Insider is the parlay calculator that I use, but they're all going to be the same. So, okay. All right, let's get it going, buddy. We have to talk about it. How would we do? Yesterday we were close, but not quite a cigar. So it's time, Scott. I know you brought them with you. I know you packed them. It's time to put on the green ones. Put on those green overalls. Put on your straw hat. Climb aboard your John Deere. Get out your lucky rabbit's foot keychain, fire that bad boy up because kids, St. Patrick's Day, it's time to bet the whole farm. Scotty, we did not do well yesterday, but we're ready to start. We're ready to start a new streak. So it is me, and we are going to talk about what are we going to do, Scott? We're going to fade the Mountain West. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're looking at the Creighton Blue Jays. Plus 2.5. That's right. I'm fading the Mountain West, and I'm getting 2.5 points. Yes, please. That is available at minus 110 at BetMGM. Creighton ranks 127th in offensive efficiency. San Diego State, 160. Not good at all. Creighton, they can flat get after it on the boards too. 81st in rebounding rate. San Diego State is 91st. And
Bronco, if you want a green team, take Vermont. Okay, we're not doing it. We're taking a team that we think is going to cover. If you want a green team for St. Patty's Day, then take Vermont. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
It didn't work out very well for Colorado State. Just saying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Creighton ranks 127th in offensive efficiency. Yes. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we did that one. Okay, so Creighton is 81st in rebounding rate. San Diego State is 91st. Creighton is 4-0 against the spread their last 4 games as an underdog. And last but not least, kids, you know it, you love it. It's the trend that we can all get behind. The Mountain West, and it's about to be 22-54, but right now they're 22-53 straight up in the NCAA tournament, and that's not getting better in this one. Let's call it 22-54. Kids, I'm catching 2.5 points against a team that doesn't win a third of their games, against a conference that doesn't win a third of their games in the conference. Yes, please. Give me the Creighton Blue Jays, a team that's actually playing well lately, despite the fact they're missing. Who are they missing, Scott? What's that kid's name?
What are we talking about?
The Blue Jays. Who are they missing? What's the kid's name?
I'm completely drawing a blank.
Exactly, that kid. Even though they're missing him, they've still played well without him. So I like the Creighton Blue Jays.
The way that I look at it is I expect a nail-biter throughout. This is going to be a hideous game. Like, if there's any other game to watch offensively, find it, because this game's going to be painful.
Yep.
I think you would agree, even if you like San Diego State in the comments section, this game should be pretty close throughout and pretty ugly. I'll take getting points in a first team to 55 wins type of game.
See, I have a hunch. You know, I know we talked about the under in this game. There could be a correlated situation that Creighton cracks the code. Again, look at the teams there in the Mountain West. Do they play good defense, or do they all just play shitty offense? What's the answer? And it could be that they all.
San Diego State actually is a good defensive team, just in general, but it helps when the teams in the conference aren't exactly great at scoring.
What Memphis? Well, Memphis went dry though. What did Memphis end up putting up?
Memphis put
62.
up 60 and change.
Okay.
But, I mean, Boise only scored 53.
Right.
So
there you go. That's going to do it for our bet the farm play for St. Patrick's Day.
Marlo, just to counter though, Creighton scored 43 against Villanova, a 2 seed. Like, this is a different animal. And in that game, they also, in the conference title game, they also did a good job of limiting Villanova offensively.
Yeah, we talked about that as we were putting this play together, and we talked about that game and whether that game scared us enough or whether it was just Villanova being a lot better team, and we decided that was the case. And guess what? We could be wrong. This could be the, if you want to say the Mountain West wins about 1 out of, what do they win, 2 out of 7 of their games, This could be the one they're due. So, but
they could, but I think it'll be close.
Yep, I like this. I like the way this Creighton team has played last third of the season. I think they've played well, and that's going to be the play. So that's going to be the play. What? Yes.
Just saying that if this line was like 1, we wouldn't be taking it.
Nope.
But 2.5 in a rock fight, that's pretty tempting.
Absolutely. All right. So thanks for watching, guys. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I say it again. I usually joke, but I'm serious this time. Make good decisions. You know, don't put yourself or anybody else in harm's way. All right. Have fun. Let's have a blast. Let's make some green, and we'll be back to do it again tomorrow, as we are every day here on the Max Wagers Network, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Scott and I do our very best to help you head back to the window, lads. Take care, everybody.